You may love your children with all your heart, but that doesn't mean you should hand over your future. Today, I want to gently show you how to build a life where you feel safe, confident, and truly independent, no matter what others do or don't do. Let me start here, because it's one of the hardest truths to face. If you want to feel truly free in your later years, you have to be financially independent. That doesn't mean being rich. It means being able to say, I can take care of myself. And you'd be surprised how many older adults don't feel that way. Maybe you've spent a lifetime giving to your family, your spouse, your kids, and now that you're older, it's easy to think they'll take care of me in return. But life doesn't always follow the script. Children have their own burdens, families, and sometimes they forget. Not out of cruelty, but because life is fast and messy. And if your bills, your groceries, your medications, even your small joys depend on someone else, that feeling of control can slip through your fingers fast. It's not about mistrust. It's about dignity, and it's something you absolutely deserve. I remember one of my clients, Ruth, who came to me when she was 73. She lived in a cozy little place in Boise, Idaho, and had always trusted her daughter to handle the bills. She's better with numbers, Ruth would say. When her daughter went through a tough divorce, things changed. The daughter started using Ruth's credit card. Just to float through, she said. But months passed. Ruth noticed her savings shrinking, but she didn't want to ask questions. She felt embarrassed, like she was being ungrateful. Eventually, she came to me, eyes full of worry. I don't know where my money is going, she said quietly. We sat down, mapped everything out, and realized over $4,000 had disappeared. Ruth wasn't angry. She was just tired. Together, we built a new system. She opened her own checking account, put small spending alerts on her phone, and even set a weekly limit for herself that gave her control, without fear. I've seen many versions of this story. There was Leonard, 78, from Kentucky. After his wife passed, his son started helping with the finances, but eventually took over everything, including Leonard's pension. Leonard had to ask for permission to buy a new pair of shoes. That broke my heart. When we talked, he said, I feel like a child in my own life, and no one, no matter their age, should feel that way. One of the most effective and doable steps I often recommend is this. Open a separate bank account in your name only. Keep a portion of your income or savings there, even if it's small. Set up alerts on your phone or ask your bank to notify you about every transaction. Avoid joint accounts unless absolutely necessary, and always review your statements once a week, just to stay aware. If needed, talk to a trusted friend, a social worker, or even a financial advisor who has experience working with older adults. The goal isn't secrecy, it's clarity. You deserve to feel confident every time you buy something for yourself. You deserve to know exactly what you have and what you can rely on. Financial independence at this stage of life isn't about control, it's about peace of mind. Like having your own sturdy umbrella on a rainy day. Maybe you won't need it, but it's yours, and that's what makes the difference. Here's something that may surprise you. Loneliness is more dangerous for your health than smoking 15 cigarettes a day. I'm not exaggerating. Studies show that social isolation in older adults can lead to faster cognitive decline, heart disease, depression, and even premature death. And yet many older people find themselves increasingly cut off from meaningful interaction, especially if their entire world revolves around their children and family. If those children move away, get busy, or drift apart, what's left? This is why it's so important to create and nurture a circle of connection that exists outside your immediate family. It doesn't have to be big, it doesn't have to be noisy, but it does have to be yours, a place where you're seen, heard, and valued just as you are. I remember a man named Henry, 78, from a small town outside Minneapolis. After his wife passed away, Henry's only regular contact was his son, who lived 3 states away. They talked on Sundays, quick calls, sometimes missed, always polite. Henry spent his days in silence. He used to love woodworking, but said, "What's the point?" That changed after a local librarian invited him to a weekly chess night. "I haven't played in 40 years, he laughed. But he went. And you know what? He stayed. Then he started going every week. He met friends, younger and older, and slowly, his days filled up again. Not with noise, but with warmth. There was also Sandra, 71, from Tampa. Her daughter had been her world, especially after retirement, but when her daughter's family moved to California, Sandra was crushed. I met her through a support group I helped start, just a few women, meeting in a park once a week. She said, "I didn't realize how empty my days were until I filled them again." Now Sandra organizes those meetings, brings muffins, and always has a joke to share. The shift wasn't instant, but it was real. One simple step that helps many of the people I work with is to intentionally schedule one social activity each week outside the home. That could be joining a senior walking group, attending a local workshop, volunteering at the library, or even just visiting the community center for morning coffee. It's not about becoming someone you're not. It's about gently making space for connection. If in-person is hard, online groups for seniors are growing and often welcoming. The goal is just one moment a week that reminds you, you're part of the world. You are not meant to fade quietly. You are a story, a voice, a presence, and the world, and even just a small corner of it, is better when you share yourself with it. Think of yourself like a lamp in the window. Your light shines no matter who walks by. But when someone does stop to look, they feel comforted just by knowing you're there. Now let's talk about something many people overlook. Safety at home. You might think, I know my house better than anyone, and you probably do. But the truth is, as we get older, our bodies change. Balance isn't as steady, vision may blur a little, reaction times slow down. That small step in the hallway or the loose rug in the living room, which you used to walk over without thinking, could now become a serious danger. In fact, falls are the #1 cause of injury among people over 65. And yet, many of those accidents are completely preventable with just a few small changes. You don't need to remodel your home, you just need to make it a little wiser, the way you've become wiser with time. I once worked with Fred, 81, who lived alone in a quiet suburb outside of Pittsburgh. He was fiercely independent, used to be an electrician, did everything himself. One evening, getting out of the shower, he slipped. No one heard him fall. He told me later that he lay there on the cold tile for nearly 6 hours before a neighbor, worried he hadn't picked up the newspaper, knocked and eventually called for help. That shook him. He wasn't used to feeling helpless. After he recovered, we walked through his house together. No grab bars in the bathroom, dim hallway lighting, a rug that curled at the edges. Fred didn't need convincing after that. We added lighting, installed handrails, and put non-slip mats in key areas. A few weeks later, he told me, I feel safer just walking to the kitchen now. There was also Louise, 76, from Arizona. Her daughter had moved in to help, but then left again after a job opportunity. Louise realized she'd been relying on someone to keep her safe without setting up anything for herself. So she installed a simple fall alert system, just a wearable button, and felt immediate peace of mind. It's not that I expect to fall, she said. It's that I like knowing I'm not alone if I do. One of the easiest ways to improve your safety at home is to focus on 3 areas: lighting, stability, and communication. Make sure every hallway and stairwell is well lit. Use night lights or motion sensors if needed. Add grab bars in the bathroom and by your bed. Remove or tape down rugs that slip or bunch. And consider a medical alert system. Many are affordable and don't require monthly contracts. Even keeping your cell phone in a pocket or on a lanyard can be a lifesaver. These are small actions, but they add up to a much stronger sense of control. Think of your home like a garden. The safer it is, the freer you can move, explore, and rest. You've worked a lifetime to have your own space. Now let that space protect you back. A wise home doesn't just keep you safe. It gives you the confidence to keep living on your own terms. Let me put it this way. Depending on someone else to lift your spirits each day is like waiting for the weather to change before you go outside. And many older adults, often without realizing it, tie their sense of happiness, purpose, and routine to whether their kids call, visit, or invite them somewhere. If a day passes without that connection, they feel forgotten. If a week passes, they feel invisible. But here's what I want you to remember. Your daily rhythm can be yours even if the phone stays silent. One of the most powerful things you can do is build routines that don't rely on anyone else. These small personal habits give shape to your day, comfort to your mind, and meaning to your moments. They're not just routines, they're anchors. I remember working with Margaret, 70, a retired teacher from Oregon. Her daughter and grandson were her whole world. Every morning she waited by the phone, hoping they'd call before school. Sometimes they did. Often they didn't. And Margaret's mood would swing with that. If they don't call, she once told me, the whole day feels flat. We talked about what used to bring her joy. I used to walk every morning before work, she said, even in the rain. So we rebuilt that habit. Margaret started walking again, just 10 minutes at first. Then she added music. Then she added journaling when she got home. Within weeks, she wasn't waiting for the phone. She was busy, grounded. Now, she told me, when they call, it's a bonus, not a lifeline. Another client, Harold, 75, from Ohio, had fallen into a pattern of waking up late, turning on the news, and sitting in silence for hours. He said, "I didn't even notice time passing." Together, we built a new morning, a cup of tea outside, stretching with his favorite radio show, writing down one thing he was grateful for. "It's not fancy," he said, "but it makes me feel like I'm in charge of my morning again." One simple way to begin is by creating a morning ritual that's just for you. Start with 3 steps, something that wakes your body, like stretching, or a short walk, something that lifts your mind, like music, prayer, or a favorite poem, and something that gives you clarity, like making a list or writing one sentence about how you feel. Do it at your own pace. This routine is your space, your quiet doorway into the day. You are the author of your own morning, and when your first hour belongs to you, not to someone else's call or schedule, the rest of the day feels like a gift, like lighting your own candle before the world wakes up. Even a small flame, when it's yours, can brighten the whole room. Let me gently say this: if something unexpected happens to you tomorrow, will the people around you know what to do? Will your wishes be clear, your voice heard, even if you can't speak for yourself? For many older adults, the answer is no. And it's not because they don't care, it's because they think they have time, or they worry that making legal decisions means preparing for the worst. But really, it's the opposite. Leaving clear legal instructions is one of the kindest, most loving things you can do, both for yourself and for your family. It protects you from confusion, stress, and even the risk of others making decisions that go against what you truly want. And the best part? It's not as complicated or expensive as people think. I remember Walter, 82, from Virginia. A quiet, gentle man, he always said, "I'm not planning to leave just yet." He had a good life, a small garden, a dog, and 3 adult children who visited now and then. One day, Walter had a minor stroke and was rushed to the hospital. That's when the problems began. No one knew who was supposed to make decisions. His son said one thing, his daughter said another. There was no medical directive, no power of attorney, no will. The hospital staff had to make calls based on state default rules, not Walter's wishes. I met him a few months later during his rehab. He said, "I always thought I had time." We sat down and went through it all. He appointed a healthcare proxy, wrote down what treatments he would or wouldn't want, and signed a simple will at a legal aid center. "Now I feel like my life has instructions," he smiled. Another client, Julia, 74, from Colorado, lived alone and had no close relatives. She'd worried for years about what would happen if she got sick. "I don't want to be a burden," she told me. We helped her complete an advance directive, and she named her longtime neighbor, a kind woman she trusted, as her emergency contact. Julia later said, "Now I sleep better. It's not about dying, it's about being heard. One of the most straightforward steps you can take is this. Choose one trusted person and make your medical wishes known." You can use free advance directive forms available in your state. Write down who should make decisions if you can't. Be clear about what kind of care you want and don't want. If you have savings or property, even something small, draft a simple will. Local senior centers often provide legal workshops or connections to low-cost services that help with this. Think of these documents like a trail map. If life throws you into the woods unexpectedly, this map helps others find the way that you've chosen, not the way they guess. It's not about control. It's about clarity, peace, and making sure your voice still matters, no matter what. You deserve that. Here's something I've come to believe deeply. Your greatest source of strength isn't what you own or who you live with, or even how your health is. It's how steady you feel inside when life gets uncertain. And at this stage of life, uncertainty can come more often. Kids grow distant, the body aches, friends pass away, the news feels overwhelming. Many older adults carry quiet grief, quiet fear, and sometimes a quiet loneliness that isn't easy to name. That's why one of the most powerful things you can build is what I call inner resilience, a sense of peace and steadiness that doesn't depend on what others do or don't do. It's like an inner shelter that you can return to, no matter how stormy the day. I once worked with George, 75, from North Carolina. He had a sharp mind and a soft heart. For years, he'd been close with his son. They talked daily, visited often. But after a disagreement over a family matter, his son stopped calling. Weeks turned into months. George was devastated. "It feels like I'm being erased," he told me. At first, he waited by the phone, replayed the argument, blamed himself. But slowly, we began to shift focus. George started writing letters, not to send, but to express. He joined a small meditation group at his local community center. He read books that lifted him, and eventually started seeing a counselor who specialized in aging and loss. "I still miss him," George said, "but I found a way to be okay without waiting on that call." Another client, Alice, 80, had lost her husband and her best friend in the same year. She told me, "It's like the world got quieter, but not in a peaceful way. We worked together on small practices, writing down memories, lighting a candle each evening for someone she missed, listening to music from her younger years. It helps me feel like I still exist," she said. That phrase stayed with me. One simple practice I often suggest is to start a daily journal, just a few lines each day. Write down what you feel, what you remember, what gave you even a small spark of joy or peace. If writing is hard, speak into a voice recorder. Also consider short breathing exercises, just 5 minutes a day of slowing down, closing your eyes and gently observing your breath. Many senior centers offer free mindfulness or gentle yoga classes. It's not about becoming a different person. It's about reconnecting with the part of you that's always been steady. You are more than what others see. You carry years of life, strength, heartbreak, and beauty. Like a deep-rooted tree, you can sway without falling. Even if people come and go, your center remains. Nourish that center, and you'll find that peace isn't something to chase. It's something you can carry. If any part of this touched you, I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments. Your voice matters here. Don't forget to subscribe and tap the bell. We're building something warm and steady together. You're not alone. You are strong. Life still opens gently when you hold it in your hands,